Hello, Speed Gaming 3, and welcome to tonight's daily race. We've got a special mode for you tonight. We've got Hybrid Major Glitches, which is going to be featured in a tournament upcoming this summer. Joining me on comms is one of the admins of that tourney, Malmo. Malmo, tell us about Hybrid Major Glitches.
All right, Hybrid Major Glitches was born out of a desire to kind of increase the runnership of major glitches without forcing people to do the more unsavory parts of that logic. So kind of the way it works is you have overall glitches logic, which is a sort of a beginner glitch mode. It doesn't require anything that's too difficult. And then you have no logic, which we won't really talk about because it's completely different. But there's also major glitches, which follows the same rule set as overall glitches, except you can also do glitches in the underworld that are kind of similar. They're just out of bounds clips. There's nothing too broken. But it does have a big implication on the logic of the dungeons. That part is really fun, in my opinion. That's the reason I was playing major glitches. I just wanted to do the dungeon stuff. I did not really want to do one-frame clips every time I played. I didn't want to do fake flutes every time I played. So I made this setting in the customizer so I could play without those. And it turned out to be very popular. And now we have a whole runnership. Like, we have a whole fandom of this mode. So we're already...
Yeah, go ahead.
We're already seeing our first glitches. People like to open up with the hobo. This is a common play. Hobo is a Sphere 1 location because Fake Flipper is in logic in this mode. We got also some typical open boots style routing where you go straight to Sahasrala's closet because you have the boots.
And yeah, if some people hadn't seen a overworld glitches mode before, most of the glitches involve some kind of wall teleport where you can use the dash of the boots to kind of clip yourself into a diagonal and either teleport yourself up or teleport yourself down the slope and jump onto the pieces of geometry that Link doesn't normally access.
Yeah, so we'll talk a little bit about opening routes too. We saw everybody started at Link's house. Usually the next thing you do after doing something from Link's house is you start at Sanctuary and you do Bonk Rocks. And then from the Lost Woods, you choose to either go up the mountain, which is the thing you can do, or you just go to Kakariko Village. So we get to take a little bit of a break because there aren't really any glitches between now and the mountain unless somebody decides to do something wacky.
Now, interestingly, we did see that there was a bow in Sahasrala's closet.
Oh, spicy.
Now, Eastern is a crystal in this mode, and runners could have chosen to sequence break that without any of the fire sources. But you know what? With overworld glitches, so much of the world is open to you, and getting access to Eastern later is quite easy. It's actually not in your favor to sequence break that.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably going to lose time overall versus just coming back later. Getting to Eastern is very easy because you can just clip there from kind of where Flute 5 portal is. There's a slope that you can teleport on that wraps your screen and gets you to Eastern. Getting there is just super easy. The benefit of going from Sahasrala's closet is kind of lost in this mode. Now we're getting to that transition point where some people are going to go to CAC and some people are going to go to the mountain. So keep an eye on people going either right or down out of this woods area.
Looks like the majority of them are going to be going towards Kakariko at this point.
Yeah, I can see why. Usually when you go to the mountain, the reason you're going is to farm bombs at Graveyard Ledge. And I know that sounds weird, but Graveyard Ledge is directly below the mountain, which means you can just drop down to Graveyard Ledge from the mountain using an out-of-bounds clip. Graveyard Ledge has bombs in it, so if you're here without bombs, you can get bombs there. And furthermore, when you are clipping off the mountain, it breaks your camera just enough to set up a houlihan. So from Graveyard Ledge, you get a free houlihan, and you are set with bombs and rupees. But all 4 of the runners have found bombs and rupees already and don't need to do that.
We find a sword in Blind's Hut, which is one of the nice things to find in any kind of glitched mode. Glitch modes almost always start with the boots because while you can do a lot of these one-frame clips to get out of bounds without boots, they're so much easier with it. And the sword just adds a little bit of extra, ease to it.
Yeah, and not only the sword like for clipping because it gives you extra time to buffer your diagonal inputs that are required for teleports. It's also just nice to have dashing through enemies because it can be quite dangerous on 3 or 4 hearts. Going, for example, South Shore, there's those crabs there. You can just dash through them now.
And oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. So I alluded to this earlier, but one-frame clips are not in logic in this mode. We don't expect you to do them. That is what's special about hybrid major glitches compared to major glitches. It doesn't expect you to do those kind of tedious one-frame clips, which are actually not that hard. They're just slow.
Orange doing a good job using that good bee in a bottle to get some extra rupees from the bottle merchant. And then we'll get to see that bottle turned in shortly to Sick Kid. There is a question in chat about what's the expected time on average for the finish time. I would say it's probably quite similar to a regular open mode. More of the seed is open at the start, though.
It's high variance, but it's never really below 2 hours unless you're having a really bad time. Sometimes, the seed can still put things on pedestal. Can still require double or triple dips in Swamp in this case because of the way it works, and I'll explain that later. But it can also allow you to skip items for Go mode. We'll talk about this when we get to Hera because that's going to be your first sign that this is not just overworld glitches. But you can beat Swamp without the mirror. You can also beat it without the hammer, but it requires a little bit of extra finagling to get through Swamp that way. But it does mean that you don't need the mirror to beat the game anymore. It's totally just a item that's required for very little things, just like one-off item locations. Otherwise, it's a convenience.
But speaking of Hera, we now have a fire source, which combined with that bow, that does mean that we now have 2 clearable crystals in the light world. Orange sees the race game item being a piece of heart. Is not really interested in that. You can clip up there to get it carefully, but not worth your time. Instead, we're just going to go and visit desert. And, so speaking of Swamp, there's the flippers.
Nice. So flippers and Swamp, let's talk about that for a second. So the way Swamp works in this mode is you're normally expected to get there from mire by clipping through walls. Because of the way the underworld map is laid out, everything is kind of on a grid. Things that are near each other on the grid can sometimes just be clipped to. There's a select few diagonal walls and dungeons that you can clip through that will get you to another dungeon. And one of those is Mire to Hera, and another one is Hera to Swamp. What that means is you can go to the middle of Swamp, kind of where you do that first water switch, from Hera, using Mire keys to unlock that door to get out.
If we happen to see some of the underworld clips, Link to the Past does some interesting things if you enter a dungeon while you're in a cave state to the key count.
Oh yeah, that's where Pod comes in, and we did find an early bow, and that does point us to Pod. The way you get into Pod in this mode is you start at Spectacle Rock Cave, and you do a glitch called Kiki Skip that gets you into Pod quickly. But you're still in the cave, and the game has no idea you're in Pod. So when you try to open doors in there, it just checks that you don't have 0 keys, and it sees you don't have 0 keys, so it says good enough, and it lets you open the door. But you still want to be in Pod when you're collecting chests in there, because any key you pick up in there is going to be added to the counter of that dungeon, which means it's going to be added to the cave key counter and not the Pod key counter. So you're going to see if runners are doing Kiki Skip, which is how you get into Pod, they're going to exit and re-enter to reset the dungeon state. In the meantime, we have a bunch of desert overworld. This is really typical overworld glitches routing, where people kind of do all the things that are in proximity to each other. By proximity, we literally just mean next to each other on the tracker. Usually that means you can get there. Oh, another bow.
Okay, we have silvers early, so firepower is not going to be an issue this seed. And I would say it is sometimes a little bit unusual that we don't see a runner climbing the mountain. Mountain is fully in logic as soon as you start the seed. Old Man is not because you don't have a fire source, but you can get into Hera, you can get to East Death Mountain, you can get Paradox Cave, Spiral Cave, all those lovely places.
Yeah, the main item they're looking for right now is the Moon Pearl. Moon Pearl is the only item you need for Dark World access. The mirror can also get you to a limited number of locations in the Dark World, but we'll only really worry about that if it comes up. We're more likely to just find the Moon Pearl somewhere. Fraime is going to teleport back up. I think he maybe doesn't know the clip to get from Cave 45 back to Desert. And that is Bombos. Bombos is interesting because to get access to Swamp, if Swamp does not have a small key at the front, which it doesn't have to, that requires access to Mire. So finding a medallion flippers is a little bit suspicious that maybe we'll be seeing Swamp sooner than we normally would.
But with both Fire Rod and Bombos, that does mean that one of the major glitches that's added to this mode will not be seen. We will not be seeing the Ice Palace lobby skip.
I think we will because it's a time save.
Oh, that's something I didn't realize.
I actually timed it. I'm not really good enough at the game to time it accurately, but it did turn out to be faster even when you're clearing Pengator Room. If you're going to be doing Icebreaker, it's faster to clip down than to do the fire. If you're going to be doing IPBJ, it's not faster.
But it does require that there's not something critical in Pengator Room, I'm assuming.
You just backtrack to it. So what you do is you clip down and then you reset the room and then you backtrack to Pengator, and that's actually faster than going from the front, especially if you're using Bombos to get in. And it saves magic. The other time you'll see people do that is in Go mode. It's definitely faster in Go mode. It's just a pure time save. So anybody who's doing Ice in Go mode and knows that clip is going to do it.
Few interesting finds. We do find our Master Sword as the drained item, and we get the Book of Medora in Mini Moldorm Cave.
Ooh, a little late for that. I mean, we just passed right by Bombos Tablet, which is totally clippable. Very easy to get to with the teleport. It's a little bit orphaned now. I think to get there, you'd have to probably be headed to Pendant Desert to rematch Lanmolas.
And there is a question in chat if Aga is required in this mode. I believe the only time Aga would be required in this mode is if there's something on Lumberjack Ledge, which in this case there's not.
Ooh, that was a nice little bonk that Fraime did. If you just try to bonk normally and hold backwards, it doesn't work, but I think if there's certain inputs you hold, do stay on that little ledge to get to that door quickly. I'm going to have to learn that. It looks faster.
Do you think he might have armed a water walk at that point? Well, he saved.
You usually do that at Ice Rod Cave. Because Fake Flippers and Water Walk are in Logic, usually you go to Ice Rod Cave and arm it there and then continue. And all of them have enough rupees for Zora.
Oh, and there is that teleport you had talked about going into Eastern that Orange just pulled off, going from that Flute 5 into Eastern Palace.
Fraime was teasing a teleport for us too. There's actually a teleport that gets you into Ice Rod Cave. All it does is save a bomb. It saves a little bit of time if you do it optimally in the speedrun, but you can also just bomb your way in. He did not arm a water walk. That is very interesting because it's going to be hard for him to get to Hobo. He hasn't been there yet. And the mountain's a little better because he has the flippers so he can clip down. But I think if I were him, I would have used that water walk for Hobo because it is faster than any other way to get there.
While Orange and Professor Render are clearing Eastern, we see Krellbell in the Waterfall Fade getting a second medallion. So that is pointing even more towards Mire.
Fraime's kicking it old school. He's doing classic Death Mountain Ascent. This is old tech. This is how we used to get up the mountain back in, like 2019. I think 2019 or 2020, a new way was discovered by Yuzuhara that the other runners will probably do. It gets you into the old man cave instead of directly up the mountain. And it's actually faster. And easier, in my opinion.
We see powder on Zora Ledge. Even though we don't have hammer or mirror, I still believe that with a certain clip, we can go and check that.
You can. It's a little bit orphaned. I feel kind of bad for these runners having picked up both the book and the powder after already passing through those areas.
All right, and Furiami setting up another clip to go down and reset his camera position, and is going into checkerboard or graveyard ledge.
So he reset his camera position to fix his Houlihan, because he did clip down the mountain. His camera was broken, but transitioning north fixes it again. And he could have dropped down and done back of escape because he has the glove, which is normally why you would do that correction.
I think he'd already checked back of escape.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
All right, Krellbell's showing off the other Death Mountain ascent.
Yeah, so the way that one works is you wrap your screen, and it actually puts you at the top of what would be Bumper Cave in the light world, and then you can drop down to Old Man Cave.
Where am I now? Into Hera, clipping up the mountain faster than we can even see.
All right, so first chest of Hera was a map. The second chest, normally you'd expect it to be a key. He's going for some speed tech there. It is a small key, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the big key is in the basement. And he's going to hold on to that key because that's actually a very valuable key. You can skip some requirements by using that key in Swamp instead of Mire. It's not in logic, but it is faster most of the time. It's also, he doesn't have the fire rod. He has the ice rod, so he actually cannot do Hera Basement.
All right, Krellbell also making their check. Going to see the single arrow in Graveyard Ledge. Render kills Armos Knights for their first crystal. Nothing particularly interesting in Eastern other than that, but we will require that to beat the game.
Yeah, this is as good a time to do it as any. You're well armed for it. You have the only thing really stopping you is if you have trouble with the dark rooms, or if you maybe find a mirror and can come from Pod. But when you're missing the Moon Pearl and you have a crystal dungeon, you just do it.
And Furiami showing off the nice wiggle up Death Mountain to get over to East Death Mountain. That one particular, most of the ledge clips in Overworld Glitches are pretty forgiving. That one, you've got to kind of wiggle around, and if you don't wiggle properly, you can end up soft blocked up there.
You can. Mountain climbing accidents are very real in this mode. Furiami is taking advantage of these sword beams, getting through Spiral Cave very efficiently. Just had to pause for that last one after getting hit by the Moldorm. They can do that. Sometimes you just dash through them and they hit you anyway. Krellbell is also getting the very ambiguous news of we don't know if Mire is required to get into Hera or not. Because he's going to get the small key and he's not going to know if that's going to lead to a big key or not.
And we have to correct ourselves. It was actually the ice rod on the library ledge, not the fire rod.
Yeah, it can be a little bit hard to see the colors on these restream layouts. Especially when people are running palette shufflers.
Oh, but there is the lamp in the bottom of Paradox Cave. Or the top, if you prefer.
Alright, that's Hera Basement. Let's go back. Let's not, because that's bad. You usually hope that you don't have to do Hera Basement.
It could very well be our Moon Pearl at this point, though.
Yeah, that would be mean. That would be last location for a lot of us.
Other locations we have, we can obviously go and take care of that Green Pendant Landmo with a fire source. We can go back to that Bombos tablet, and of course, there is the escape.
The escape, the uncle. Poor uncle just doesn't get checked until an hour into most seeds. It's kind of a meme. You actually have a rule now. A lot of people will say, if I haven't been to the uncle yet and it's been an hour, I'm just going to go, because if I don't go now, I'm never going to get there. Usually people wait until they have the mirror.
Is Furiami going to go and jump off Death Mountain to Zora?
Yep. So again, with that proximity thing, everything is just kind of laid out next to each other on a grid, and Furiami is taking full advantage of that by clipping down to the Zora's domain area. This is very ugly. Very, very ugly palette for this clip.
Yeah. Even though they improved the palette shuffle, they weren't expecting, the glitch mode sprites to get in there. But this is kind of nice for Furame. He will get the powder, and will potentially have that check as well.
I've noticed that Frame and Render have the same palette. How does that happen? Is there some kind of PRNG bug for the palette shuffler?
There must be. Interesting.
Because I've seen this a lot on restreams before, and I'm not sure how it's happening. And we know that they don't share ROMs because A, that's illegal, and B, they have different sprites, so that wouldn't be possible anyway. So something definitely is interesting with the palette shuffler.
So there's a question, chat. Is the glitch falling off mountain having to do with Dark World without Pearl and Logic? Yep, it's absolutely in Logic to go and jump down off Death Mountain with or without the Pearl. Actually, without the Pearl, you wouldn't be able to do the clips to jump off Death Mountain easily.
It requires the mirror. There is something called a mirror clip. It's one of the oldest glitches known in this game, where you just finagle your mirror portal until it gets you out of bounds, and then you can jump off the mountain as a bunny. That is in Logic. However, there's no method to get off the mountain directly that doesn't involve the mirror that is in Logic in this mode. That would require one frame clipping, and we don't expect our runners to do that.
All right, Farame gonna go and check the escape. Uncle having nothing of particular interest, but we find a shovel.
Go bury your uncle.
Aww.
All right, Render is doing a DMA if you missed it before. He's ascending the mountain via the old man cave, which is the kind of shiny new. That was very, very iffy. He could have hard locked if he had done that differently. So what happened to him is he jumped down instead of across, and jumping down put him on the transition in a very particular way that put him on what we call a funny auto walk thing. And when you hit a transition, when you're already on the transition, you'll just get this transition that resolves late. But if you hit it wrong in a different way, you can get a transition that resolves never. And if you're transitioning, you cannot save and quit. You have to hard reset your console.
And speaking of auto walk transitions, we're finding the Cane of Samaria in the first chest of Hyrule Castle.
Here you go. Render is getting the second try. Perfect DMA this time. It's interesting to know with the lamp being on the mountain, it really goes to show that you are supposed to just climb the mountain some other way. Even this, using the old man cave. This is actually not in Logic, but there are other mountain ascents that, we saw Farame do. That one did not require the dark room. You just had to correct your camera at the mountain. But everybody does it anyway because it gives you easy access to the mountain. And mountain gives you access to the rest of the world.
All right, Farame getting that Death Wharf setting up, hoping that he doesn't get Sankart.
That was a little iffy with him. He got the bad RNG from the Green Guard and was hoping he could get to the ball and chain in time and realize that it's not actually safe to do it that way. So he's taken out Bombos. Got the magic refill instead, which is a lot better. He got the slow dash. Sometimes when you have a thrown bomb on screen and you try to dash, Link moves slowly for some reason. I don't understand this game.
All right, one more check left in here. Samaria doesn't actually give us anything at this point because we don't have any way to get into Mire without the Moon Pearl.
Yeah, so, it's just a lot of fetch quests left, and then Pod. I think I'm actually really suspicious of Pod being given the bow twice. Means that a good portion of Pod, and the lamp, a good portion of Pod is in Logic. Pretty much everything except Helmasaur can be accessed in Logic right now, using that Kiki skip glitch that I talked about earlier. So I hope we get to see that today, because that's a whole lot better than just Moon Pearl and Shovel.
And last item in Dark Cross was the cape. Does it give us anything in particular? Like we said, Egg is not blocking anything that we wouldn't have access to otherwise. Yeah,
bumper ledges you can just clip to. The only thing Cape really does logically is Spike Cave as an invincibility item, and you still need the Moon Pearl for that. So Cape's not going to lock our Moon Pearl.
it looks like...
Yeah, Render is doing another really nice mountain climb. I wonder where he's going this time. This is a second trip
Oh,
up the
okay.
mountain.
Here's a fun thing that
Oh.
Farime is setting up here.
This is Kiki Skip. I think he forgot how to do it because you want to face. Oh, he's doing the insta clip. I understand. So you dash into the bomb, and the bomb is on a certain pixel, and then you hold a certain direction as the bomb clips you through the wall. It puts you in pod. This is pod, but we're still in a cave. So yeah, keep a close eye on him. He's doing the interesting stuff. We've already seen Zora in Spiral Cave.
Yep.
So you can see the tile set's a little different. If you played Dorando, you're probably familiar with this effect, but it's for a different reason. Now he's going to continue forward in pod. Normally what you would do is you would just open that door and leave and then reset the dungeon. I'm not sure what his intention is, but it's actually really dangerous to open chests. So you can see him running past them and not opening them. If he were to collect the big key of this dungeon while he was here, it wouldn't be the big key of pod, it would be the big key of cave. And then he wouldn't be able to use it in pod. It would be effectively deleted. And he would have to hard reset to make his game beatable again.
Looks like he was just opening the back, since in Cave State you have effectively unlimited small keys. So he's just trying to get his routing to be a bit more efficient.
Yeah, I'm not convinced that saves time to open the back one, but I can see why you would do it. Normally you open the middle one, and if you get the right key layout, you can actually skip the Bowlock side entirely if it's two small keys. It's quite nice.
And
Fire
Orange
Rod.
is, okay, that's interesting.
Fire Rod and Pod. What does that even do? Right now it does nothing.
No, it doesn't.
We already have Bombos and Lamp. Like, Fire Rod is just for Dark World right now. He's thinking. You gotta continue, because that Fire Rod's not enough.
No, and everything else is just a really ugly, awful check. You don't want to go to do powder. You don't want to check Bombos. You don't want to kill Landmo or check the shovel. And you don't want to do what Orange do, is checking Hera Basement for that big key.
Wow, it's not Meyer locked. Oh, Meyer locked, by the way. That's a term we use in this mode. Instead of fire locked, Hera can be Meyer locked. In this case, it is actually just fire locked, which is a little bit uncommon. There are 6 locations the big key can be shuffled into, and the logic doesn't really care. It'll just put it in one of those locations, and then it'll decide where the medallion for Meyer goes. But because it placed the big key in an accessible location, now all of Moldorm and everything upstairs in Hera is in logic. Alright, Farime is setting up another death warp to get back to the front of pod. If you were to do this in the cave state, besides being inadvisable to open chests, you wouldn't be able to death warp out because it would just count as an overworld death and you'd get the save and quit menu. You also can't mirror in a cave. Moonpearl is vanilla.
Oh!
What is this?
That is... You know what? I think that that's actually quite unfortunate for Farime, because the checks that he's doing, he's very likely to leave Hera Basement for last.
He did get the Fire Rod, though, and that's nice. And that might actually work in his favor, because people who got the Moonpearl can just go to the Dark World now and miss out on the Fire Rod, especially if there's something good in Skullwoods.
Yep, and so Orange gonna go take care of that Moldorm kill. Renderer also did the basement and will be making his Hera climb. Kralbell about to get the cape from Dark Cross. And Farime just has to go and take care of the back of pod.
The worst thing Farime can find here is the mirror, because that would lead him to some Dark World locations that will not lead to the Moonpearl, but could from his perspective.
And there was a question in chat if you need mitts for Turtle Rock, and no. In fact, as long as you have the Moonpearl, you can get into Turtle Rock.
We can kill Trinex.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Turtle Rock is a crystal. It looked like Pod was one of the 5/6 crystals, and I missed the pendants and the other 5/6.
I can't believe it's just a vanilla Moonpearl with a vanilla key layout. Other than the small key being in the other chest.
Alright, Orange doing a jump down Death Mountain. Gonna go and start doing Overworld Dark World checks.
Oh, we've had a map check. It's Swamp Palace is a pendant. That's unfortunate from a viewer perspective because we might not get to see the cool clips that get you into Swamp.
The only exception would be if something like No, I was going to say Hammer is in the back of Swamp Palace, but there it is in Pod Maze.
Oh, wow, it's in Pod? Are you serious? So I think Farime is actually in good shape because who's going to go to Pod now that they have all this stuff and are missing the Hammer and the... Yeah, I don't know, man. What a weird seed. This is unusual hybrid.
All right, that was indeed the blue cane on Moldorm. Yeah, I'm trying to think because we can now clear. Unless there's.
We're not in go mode, are we? Are we in?
Depends on the mire.
Hook
only
shot.
if mire. Yeah.
It's hover seed.
Oh God.
I think we're a hover seed
hook
mode.
Shot and maybe ether.
Maybe
for
ether.
Mire. Wow.
That's really disgusting.
And yeah, both Ice and Swamp Palace are pendants.
Yeah, so Farime is doing the boss because he actually hasn't been to the Dark World yet and doesn't know if this is a pendant or a crystal and has found the hammer, and this is in logic. You can't just go outside and check it because as far as the game is concerned, he's still in the light world. He never entered the dark world. So he's in like Pod but in the light world, and if you were to go outside and check his map, he wouldn't be able to. It would just give him the light world pendants and crystals.
So while Orange jumped down Death Mountain and is doing Skull Woods without the fire rod, Professor Render decided to go and do that same East Death Mountain clip, but in the Dark World, and was trying to go and do that one check in Hookshot Cave to bonk off, but accidentally picked up the skull. I think we've all done that.
Does anybody know if Farime can hover? Because if he can hover, he's actually in go mode, pending ether. I know you're going to say, but the Moon Pearl, he doesn't need it. He plays major glitches. He knows how to skip it.
Yeah, and all of the glitches that are allowed in this, out of logic, but are still allowed in this rule set would let him get around that. That's
true. I don't think I was really clear about that these one frame clips that we don't expect them to do, they're still allowed to. They can still do them if they want. This is like the one time you would do it, though, is when you're on a pearl hunt, and that's the only thing you need to beat the game. And even then, there are so few places the pearl can be that you're probably going to save time just getting it.
And there's a question, chat, about how you fight Ganon without Moon Pearl. Well, the fun thing is that there is a clip that you can do on Dark Death Mountain that will put you right inside of Ganon's tower. And you know what? You don't even need all of the crystals to do it. You can just clip inside Ganon's tower because the staircase is still there. However, Ganon will still not be vulnerable until you have all the crystals.
So there's a weird thing with the randomizer right now. I think it's actually a bug where some of the fake world flags aren't working correctly, and I can't remember whether it's overworld glitches or major glitches that's affected. If you die in a dark world dungeon and you haven't defeated Aga yet, and there's no fake world fix applied, the game will put you in the light world. Just like Farime was in Pod. And that's intended. That's vanilla behavior. However, when that happens in Ganon's tower, there's a fix that prevents Aghanim 1 from spawning there, and that has an effect on whether you're actually in the Dark World or Light World when you finish Ganon. But that's not really how you would get to Ganon without the Moon Pearl. Typically, the way you skip Moon Pearl in this mode, not in this mode, but in like major glitch mode, is to fake flute, which gives you a free super bunny in the overworld, and you can pull a tree and that turns you into Link. And you'll stay Link as long as you don't exit the underworld. Oh, Professor Render is doing a glitch. This is called super jump. I think he messed up though. He's trying to get off the mountain, but he's getting off the mountain in a way that will put him all the way at the bottom of the map near Swamp Palace.
Super jump is really fun to watch when it gets pulled off because you'll just see Link jump about, like 5 screens down, and it's fantastic.
He just falls 8 times. It's so silly. Where did Render miss the glove?
That was in Sahasrala's closet, so he should have got it, I believe.
Yeah, because he has silvers.
And Farame took the long way into Eastern, decided not to do the clip.
Yeah, the clip doesn't save that much time when you have the glove. It's a very minor time save. When you do have the glove, it's more significant.
Orange found the Tempered Sword in the front of Thieves' Town and is making his way through. I haven't taken a look at dungeon items to see if it's likely that the big key is locking itself. But it is possible that not having that hammer from Pod may bite him if the last item is in that big chest.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't have the key yet. So, I mean, it's even if like we count items, if he doesn't find the key, it's just the key there. That's I think given that we're only looking for hookshot for no mode and possibly ether, it's really unlikely to actually bite him.
Now, I'm not sure which clip Krellbell's trying to do there.
It's a bomb clip. So this is actually really similar to the clips you do in the underworld. You saw like Farame do it in the cave. He's doing this in the overworld, and this gets him out of the portal area when he doesn't have the hammer. It's an alternative to the super jump. It's a little bit faster.
Oh, and there's that small key.
Oh. Yeah, unfortunately, I wasn't counting items. I have a hard enough time counting items when I'm playing. But Farame hasn't been to Eastern yet. I mean, this is the place to go. If you're looking for Moon Pearl and all you have left are Hera Basement and some fetch quests, this is where you go.
Oh yeah, especially with a perfectly in-logic lamp and silvers.
Render is going to do a clip into the mire area. If you have photosensitivity, you might want to not look at his screen because the rain gets kind of messed up. Because he's taking a transition in the overworld to get to mire, it doesn't load the rain properly, and you get this glitchy mess. You can dispel it if you're the one playing yourself. You can just check your map and it'll fix the rain.
And that was Bombos to get into mire, so we are a hook shot from go mode.
Yeah, this is a hover seed.
Oh no. and yeah, I'm not sure if Farame can hover. I believe he can, but I'm not sure how practiced he is at.
Yeah, same goes for Orange. I know Orange is capable of it, but I also know that he's had some times when he tried it and lost a ton of time. I know Krubble cannot hover, and I don't know if Renderer can or not, but I don't think he can.
And Renderer without that Cane of Samaria is not going to bother opening up mire right now.
Yeah, it's just as likely that the people who haven't found the pod items yet will just find the hookshot somewhere else because they're looking for a hammer.
Samaria was in the escape, which Renderer has not done yet.
Oh, yeah. If he doesn't find mirror, he might be a while before he actually goes there. But Farame is clipping to Hobo. He has the flippers, so he can just go straight through that wall and get into the water. It's a little weird here. I think he's trying to just do a diagonal clip. The way it works, what he's doing is called a spin speed clip. When you have spin speed armed, the game doesn't check for collision as often as it normally would, and then you can just go through diagonal walls, because diagonal walls also have really shaky collision. Like, only some of the pixels will actually block you.
Krubble was trying to decide whether or not he was going to open mire, decided, yeah, you know what, I'm right here, let's go take care of that. And I'd like to welcome the 50 Raiders from Speed Gaming 2. Welcome to this race. This is a hybrid major glitches race, which I believe is the first time that this particular mode has been shown on Speed Gaming. There is going to be a tournament of this mode in summer of this year. With me on comms is Malma, one of the admins for this tournament, and it combines the overworld glitches that allow you to traverse the entire overworld with the ledge clips and fake flutes, and adds 4 specific underworld glitches that let you get into certain dungeons.
Yeah, it's worth noting there's actually more than just the that you can do. It's only 4 that actually have logical implications. There's a couple that you can do as optional shortcuts or just really niche routing scenarios. For example, you can get to Dark Cross from Tower of Hera and get the item from there. You can also get a key out of there and get the key, assign it to Tower of Hera, and use that key in Hera instead of the escape. Yeah, thanks for putting that link in there. I purposely broke the link because I would probably get auto-modded if I put a URL shortener in chat.
Oh, nice shovel dash by Farame, and that shovel is a whole 10 arrows, and he's like, you know what? Yeah, why not?
I too. If I was Farame, I would be routing the same way. I hate doing Hera basement and hybrid major glitches, and I love doing pod, especially when you have the lamp and the bow. It's just calling out to you. No, he's doing pendant landmo now. That's a choice. It sure is. I mean, this is doing pendant landmo is kind of your justification for checking shovel. He also has Bombo's tablet. I think at the time he hadn't done it yet. So it's when you're routing this mode, it's easy to leave holes in the map, but it's also easy to link them up again because of how close everything is to each other. Things that are normally separated by walls are no longer separated by walls.
All right, Orange doing that same kiki skip click with the bomb clip in the diagonal. The diagonal wall, if you haven't already figured out by watching a little bit overworld glitches, is diagonal walls in this game aren't.
They're not walls.
They're not walls.
Well, so Orange is doing a different method than Farame did. This is actually puts you on a pixel to teleport instead of clip. There is a difference between teleporting and clipping. Clipping is just you kind of go through the wall. Teleporting means you're abusing the game's collision detection, where the game actually tries to kick you out of the wall and it does it wrong, and it kicks you out too far. And it kicks you out, in this case, it's going to kick you down. He got an up teleport there. That was just from buffering too many frames up.
We get a piece of heart off Lanmo and that green pendant. One more check for Farame in the area, being the Bombo's tablet. He is still looking for the Moon Pearl, which is in its vanilla chest in Tower of Hera.
Behind the vanilla big key, because of course. Now, if one of these things leads to hookshot, Farame's in great shape, because, because then he can just finish the seed without Moon Pearl. Unfortunately, the big key is, locked by the basement still, so he can't just get the Moon Pearl. He'd have to fight Moldorm just for the crystal and then do the rest of the seed without it.
All right, Orange is in his cave state pod, just opening that middle door, exiting. And is this fake? Is that fake Dark World when they do enter? Okay.
Yeah. So the only thing that actually puts you in the Dark World in this game is going through a mirror portal or defeating Aga 1.
And a little bit of rando history is that for the longest time, if you had entered the Dark World without defeating Aga 1, just even using a regular portal, you would often end up in fake Dark World, fake Light World. Because,
oh, really?
Yeah. So in early versions of the rando, because obviously, in the vanilla game, you have to defeat Aga 1 to enter the Dark World.
Yeah, the game is weird. In vanilla, you can enter the Dark World all you want. It doesn't care about Aga unless you've died. It's really death. The game doesn't think you're supposed to be in the Dark World at all, so it just gives you that save and quit menu for Mountain, Old Man, whatever. But when you're in a dungeon, it'll also treat it the same way and just give you the save and continue menu for the dungeon, but it'll function like the one that gets you to the Light World. So it'll put you in the Light World. We fixed that for Rando. Farame's finally finding his Moon Pearl. I think this is his last location.
Yeah, his only other option would have been to do the powder, or I guess maybe buy some potions for YBAs.
Yeah, out of logic. I mean, the option is to just not have the Moon Pearl. You can totally do all the things that every other runner is doing without a Moon Pearl. It just takes forever to fake flute over and over again. Now, fake fluting isn't really hard. I mean, some people will say it is. You are hitting 2 buttons at the same time, and that's impossible. But it's mostly just time-consuming, and it costs 160 rupees every time you do it. So you have to be careful managing your money.
Oh, and our tracker, Professor Pixie, said that he did check powder. So this really is his last in logic location for him.
So Orange is in great shape, except for the one caveat being that he hasn't been to the escape and gotten the cane, and that's a little hard to get to when you don't have the mirror. I keep mentioning the mirror for the escape. The reason is because there's a clip to get into Pyramid Fairy with the mirror, and people like to link them together.
It's really convenient where you can just jump down off the mountain, get the mirror clip, check to Pyramid Fairy, and then do Uncle right there.
Yeah, and the other place that you would use the mirror is if you have completed Ganon's tower and been put at the top of the pyramid. Then you could also mirror to the escape.
And there's a question in chat. Farami is about to get his Moon Pearl right here. It is vanilla in the Hera big chest.
Behind a vanilla big key, because of course. Yeah, Pog. No, so Farami did like a whole Kiki skip thing into Pod and got a whole bunch of stuff out of Pod. So he followed the logic, having found the bow and the lamp, and got rewarded for it. But that Moon Pearl location is just so terrible that it ended up not mattering as much, because now Orange is here and he's getting all that stuff too.
So we are really only a hookshot away from full no mode. And of course, this is a potential hover seed.
Yeah, we're going to see if Farami continues to full clear the game. First of all, he has to know how to beat the game with his tools, and I think he does, because I don't think there's anything weird that he has to do besides normal overworld glitches. But he also has to like recognize he's in go mode, and it can be easy to like see a really empty menu and be like, "Oh, I'm not in go mode yet," and just simply not notice. But he also, maybe he doesn't hover, and maybe that's what he's looking for, because he's going to the Dark World. He might be going to Turtle Rock right now. All right, Check's human is telling us he doesn't hover, so that's good info.
Okay. And yeah, he's just going to go and clip up the side of Turtle Rock to activate the portal up there.
I'm actually really glad that everyone's kind of on even footing as far as hovering goes.
And we had a double Bombos seed. It's pretty unusual in any kind of glitch mode to see people enter Turtle Rock from the front door, but without a mirror, this is actually the easiest way to do it.
Yeah, there is a clip that gets you to Laser Bridge without the mirror. It's rather complicated, and if you're not practiced at it, you probably aren't going to go for it. The typical way and the logical way to get clip into the bridge in the middle, the one that has the big chest, that's a very easy clip to do. But Farami's already here and has already entered, and he's not even going to walk in. He's just opening the door just in case. I think he has some Dark World locations to open first, like Super Bunny Cave. I don't think we've seen that yet.
No, this will be... I thought that renderer might have checked it, because he did do the bonk in Hookshot Cave.
Oh, yeah, then you're right. It's hard to watch 4 people at once.
Mm-hmm.
Chad is asking if there's a glitch to get to Argus without the hookshot. I didn't really explain the rule set clearly. We have different rules for glitch modes. This one is called Restricted Major Glitches, which only allows clips in the underworld and then pretty much anything in the overworld except for a couple things. To get to Argus without a hookshot, you have to do things that are not allowed in this mode.
Yeah, and at this point, we know the hookshot isn't going to be on pedestal because, well, Swamp is a pendant. And even one discussion that was going on in the race room beforehand is, if there was a required item on pedestal, pendant duping is allowed in this mode.
Yeah, it only applies to Meyer in the restricted rule set because it's the only one you really can dupe that actually matters. I think it's the only one you can dupe at all because of the way it works, but because Meyer's a crystal, we're just going to fight the boss. We do require that if Meyer's a crystal, you do have to fight Vitreous. It kind of follows the speedrun rule sets. Whenever we call something all dungeons, we mean all pendants and crystals and their bosses. In this case, it's all crystals and their bosses, and then pendants we don't care about because it's defeat Ganon goal.
And no hookshot means that we have to take the long way around the Fire Rod Maze in Turtle Rock.
Oh yeah, so what is pendant duping? Pendant duping is just when you get the pendant in the dungeon. That means you start in Mire and you clip to Hera and you go to Moldworm's room. Mire's pendant will drop, or a crystal. And you'll collect it without having fought the boss of Mire. What that does is it would skip the cane requirement. But we still require you to go back and fight Vitreous afterward if you're going to do that, if it's a crystal. If it's a pendant, you can do whatever you want.
In certain non-randomized glitch modes, like say reverse boss order, you'll often see pendant and crystal duping, but then you'll go back and actually defeat the boss.
Yeah, as I was explaining before, like, we want you to play the game still. Even in those heavy glitch modes, requiring the boss and the prize, you get to see more stuff, more glitches. That's fun. We like that. If you were only duping, the game would be very short if you were allowing all those glitches.
Oh, and here's Orange jumping into Ganon's tower. Now, this is a potential spot where the hookshot could be.
Yeah, hookshot. So these the bonks that Orange is doing are in logic. The bomb jump is not. The only underworld glitches we actually add to the logic are Dungeon Bunny Revival for Moon Pearl and Super Bunny, and the 4 bomb clips that we've talked about.
Now, does he think that potentially the Cane of Samaria is in here?
He might. Oh, the mirror is here.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a useful thing.
Mirror is good for him because that's going to lead him back to the escape.
Yeah, I can imagine he's likely going to just clear the Ganon's tower basement, find the big key, and then probably clip into Pyramid Fairy using that mirror, and then he'll head into the escape.
I'm curious to see if he goes for the hover if he finds the big key. I know he's capable of it. I just don't know how practiced he is. Frime is doing Spike Cave. Usually you do that on the way to GT. I wasn't looking at him closely enough, but the fact that he's exiting tells me that that's what he's doing. So the way you get into GT is you do the same clip that gets you to Hera, where you fall off the bottom of the screen and land on top. But then you actually do it again in the Dark World. And that puts you on the stairway of Ganon's tower. Now he has corrected his camera, so we'll get to see a little bit better what he's doing. But he's still going to wrap around the screen. It's still going to look weird. So he clips here until he can't anymore, and then he holds a diagonal, and that kind of kicks him out in a weird way. This glitch is actually pretty unique because the inputs are... It's not really a teleport, but the inputs are kind of similar to one. The Render is in a little trouble with health. He has the powder. He can get one here.
Oh, hopefully he knows that there is a bunny beam underneath that pod, or the anti-fairy just before that big chest.
So, yeah, chat's asking where do we think the hookshot is. There's a lot of places it can be. The runners have done a really good job showing us a lot of different locations. It's really unlikely to be in GT just because GT tends to lock a lot of small keys behind the hookshot logically, so even the places that don't hard require it will often be key locked anyway.
Now, Farame was in Turtle Rock, but it looked like he exited after the vanilla big key chest. So it is entirely possible that hookshot is, on Trinex or Laser Bridge or something like that.
I'm actually really surprised nobody's been to TR yet. This is a full clearable crystal dungeon. Maybe it's just because you can do all these other things too, and it's just taking a long time to get there. Maybe it's because some of them are still in Master Sword. But TR is totally in logic and full clearable, and it's a crystal, and it's very, very item dense. It has 5 items in it. Oh, Ranger is doing the clip. This is Mire to Hera. He's going to try again. He got kind of blocked by the Wizrub. You throw the bomb in this. This is actually really easy. And then you just hold the diagonal as the bomb clips you. Oop, he soft locked.
I think
I feel bad for saying that was easy. It's a little hard to time the diagonal. When Farime did it in a different place, when he was doing it in pod, he actually buffered it with his sword. And I think Render didn't buffer it and got something like a cardinal direction that kicked him into the wrong pixel. And then he wasn't able to get the clip.
I think he was looking to show that off because I thought that he had gotten the Hera big key from the basement.
So if Render is doing that, he's doing it to unlock Swamp. Because the small key of Swamp isn't necessarily in the front. He also doesn't have the mirror. So what the logic would expect you to do if the small key doesn't get placed up front is take a key out of Mire and bring it to Swamp using 2 clips. And then you use that key to unlock the door that gets you into the rest of Swamp, and then you kind of just keep unlocking doors until you're at the entrance. And then you can enter Swamp normally and do Swamp. I don't know if Render is going to go back for that, because Swamp is a pendant, and that's quite the time investment. I think for him, he had already been in Mire and wanted somewhere to go from there, because he didn't have the cane.
He is still looking for the Fire Rod and the Hammer, which are both in Pod, as well as the Cane of Samaria, which is in Dark Cross. And Farame is doing the rest of the GT basement that is in Logic without Hookshot, doing the full right.
Does GT Big have to be in GT? Yes, it does. All of the dungeon items are still shuffled within their dungeons. The only thing that changes is where the big key of Hera can get placed, which is just anywhere now, anywhere in Hera. And then the small key of Swamp can be anywhere in Swamp. It's a 1 in 10 chance to be in the front. All right, Krevel's doing his cave adventure. He's opening the first door. Orange is going for the hover. I think Orange is in really good shape because that's most of the way to Moldorm. If he can pull that off at Moldorm, then he only needs the cane for go mode.
Yep, and he should be getting that if he's going back across the mountain. Oh no, it looks like he is going to go and do his Turtle Rock clear at this point.
Yeah, he's actually doing the mirrorless version while having the mirror menu. I think it is faster than jumping down. If you don't know the manual lineup, you'd have to go all the way from the other side and set it up. So he's just doing the mirrorless version because that's what he knows how to do. Now this is a very strong play, except he doesn't have the cane, so it's actually out of logic for him. I'm a little interested in hearing from him why he's going into Laser Bridge without the cane. I think for him it's probably just because he wants to go somewhere from here, and Laser Bridge is 4 chests, and it's really easy to get to for him.
Maybe he wants a little bit of extra hover practice, hovering all the way over to Trinex.
Oh my gosh. No, if he was going to do that, he would have just brute force Hookshot Cave.
Because, yeah, Samaria and Hookshot are all that Orange is really looking for, and if he feels comfortable with the Moldorm 2 hover, then it's really just Samaria.
Yeah, so one thing that separates this from major glitches, besides one-frame clips, also mirror wraps and that mirrorless wrap are not in logic. You're expected to go, the Hookshot's here, what the heck? Oh, dear lord. Okay, I think I would have won the seed, because I would have gone straight to TR after Pod. Except
wow.
the Moon Pearl I may have beat the game without the Moon Pearl. Oh lord. So now Orange has he just Shock Cave, and now he knows the king can't be there. So this is really good for him. He also knows that while Kane can maybe be upstairs, key logic is probably preventing it. Actually, I'm not even sure if the cane was required for GT Big Key, because I don't think anyone's done the climb yet. I don't think anybody found the big key.
Nope.
Good lord. Alright, Orange is going to be hitting go mode really soon. He is going to the escape. What he's doing is he's dropping down the mountain with the camera. Every time he does that, his map position moves down a screen. And the map position happens to be what determines where your portal gets placed. So the mirror portal didn't get placed on the mountain. It actually got placed in the castle courtyard in a specific location that will allow him to clip into Pyramid Ferry.
Yeah, it's in a kind of a weird spot where it's partially under a bush.
Yeah, and he's routing this with Graveyard Left too. This is really, really clean routing from Orange. The hook shot, that was lucky, because that was him going out of logic for Laser Bridge. But everything else he's doing makes perfect sense. You have the mirror, you do this next.
So now for Arme, clearing out the rest of the Dark World, is going to go and take care of his Thieves' Town. And even if there is an item in the big chest, it's not going to be anything that he's interested in. And we are going to see Orange go and slash a bush, go into a mirror portal, and basically be inside the crack for the Pyramid Fairy.
Yeah. If Farame chases crystals, he's in good shape too. He just does Mire and then Sounds Woods. He full clears all of those, but they don't really get faster with Go Mode in the same way that other things do. And then TR is just another crystal you can do. And he's going to find his hook shot. If he does Mirror Wrap, he's going to get there. He's going to get the hook shot first.
Why are you going back in the Dark World?
Good question. He hasn't checked Pyramid Ledge yet.
Oh, potentially. But okay.
Although now that he's mirrored, he won't be able to get back because I think that Mirror Portal is kind of in a wall and he's going to bonk.
Mm-hmm.
But that's okay because he's going to find the cane here instead.
And there was a question about how you set up Houlihan. That's just something that happens when you do the jump off of Death Mountain. When we saw Krellbell and Farame set it up earlier, they reset their camera position. But if you just jump off the mountain and get that weird glitched light world, you'll just automatically have a Houlihan set up.
Yeah, the Houlihan comes from having a broken camera, and a lot of the things you do here break the camera pretty heavily compared to the normal Houlihan setup.
Whereas, no major glitches when you have the Houlihan setup, you're off by like a pixel, and in this case, you could be off by like 6 or 7 screens.
That's true.
But
Curious if Farame goes to Swamp from Mire. I mean, he's going to do Vitreous first because it's a crystal, but he might do the thing Krellbell Renderer tried to do as well.
And that is Go Mode for Orange at 1 hour and 29 seconds with that Cane of Samaria. He has just Skull Woods, Mire, and Turtle Rock to take care of.
This is going to be extremely fast for him. I think he said he has never actually played Hybrid Major Glitches before. If I'm not mistaken. This is his first seed, which makes it automatically a PB, but it's going to be a hard PB to beat.
Mm-hmm. It really was a very kind seed. There was the one required, going Kiki Skip to get into Pod to get that hammer for...
You didn't even need to do that. You could have just gone to Pod normally. It just worked in your favor if you did. I think the mean location was actually the Moon Pearl, because Hera Basement being... Actually, locking the big key is awful, because you usually want to save that small key for Swamp. Maybe if you have gone to the Dark World and known that Swamp is a pendant, you'd feel better about making that play. But normally you try to just avoid Hera Basement, and you might be without a Moon Pearl for a really long time, as Farame was. Alright, Orange is doing Mirrorless TR again.
I don't recall when Farame was in TR if that big key was in the front or not, so...
Oh, that's a good point.
Because he still does need the big key, which could potentially be in the vanilla big key chest or in the crystal roller room. But if it was in those front 3, then that's a long backtrack.
Yeah, it's still faster to do it this way because you can just mirror back to the laser and do Trinex. This is what you do in the speedrun as well, in the same rule set. You do TR backwards and you find the big key and then you mirror back out. It just can take longer in rando depending on where that big key gets placed. But the big key will never get placed beyond the big key door because that laser bridge, like mirror wrap and mirrorless wrap, those are not in logic.
Yeah, so it looks like we've got a vanilla big key in TR today since the flute was in the chain chomp room.
Now, Krellbell's in a good position too. I mean, he has everything that he needs to just go to TR and get the hook shot and be in go mode. As long as he chases crystals, he actually is a contender for, keeping up with Orange. He's already done Mire and Orange hasn't.
I'm a little confused why everyone who had the fire rod early did not go to Skull Woods.
I'm confused why they didn't go to TR.
That too,
If you had the cane. If you didn't have the cane, I understand. But if you had the cane, I think you do that. Especially because I think everybody in this race knows how to do this wrap. So even not having the mirror doesn't stop you. I mean, we've seen Orange do it twice while having the mirror. It's not actually that hard to do.
Yeah. And we had both the ice rod and the fire rod early too.
I keep saying mirror wrap. I never actually explained what that is. There's a glitch where you hit the mirror on a screen transition and it puts you on the wrong side of the transition, so that when you hit it from the wrong side, you get transported an extra half a screen. And that extra half a screen happens to be Laser Bridge, and you can just walk in.
It's really funky looking, and it's actually very easy to soft lock as well if you go a bit too far.
It's one of those glitches that none of the inputs do, except for hitting 2 buttons at the same time. But if you don't know what you're doing, it's easy to mess it up.
I think the first mirror wrap I ever watched was somebody using it to go into Ice Palace.
Yeah, that's pretty much the other mirror wrap you would do in this mode. It's actually we're not going to see it because it's a pendant, and that makes me sad, because that means we don't get to see the bomb clip either. Maybe somebody goes in there instead of the escape to look for Kane. But by now, the only person who's missing Kane is Render.
And now that he's got Hammer, he's got the entire world opened up to him.
And Render went to
Even
the
more
school.
so.
Render went to the school of check uncle at some point, and it has been an hour, and he knows it. And is probably thinking about uncle. All right, Orange had to go all the way to the roller room to get the big key, which is unfortunate for him. He got that benefit of go moding TR and still had to full clear it, which always feels bad.
There was a question chat about that the flute doesn't open up much, and it really doesn't. In any major glitch mode, activating the flute is rarely a time save.
Oh, we have a flute?
Yeah, that was in Chain Chomp.
So flute actually has no logical implications at all. Like, there's nothing the flute does for you that you can't get to with glitches. If you get it early enough, it can be worth it time-wise to have it, just because it's faster to get to places like, the place where you clip into Eastern, for example. That's a flute spot. But this late in the game, you're not going to go out of your way to activate it. Definitely not in go mode.
And all Orange has left is Mire and Skull Woods.
All right, Krebel is also in good shape, because he is... Oh, he's correcting his camera. That's bad. He's not going to these... Oh, he has... Right, he doesn't have the mirror yet. Oh, no, he's going to TR. Never mind. I was thinking he was missing Kane. That's Render. Krebel's in great shape. He's going to get his hookshot, and he's going to be in go mode, and he's going to have TR to do, and I think he actually can beat Orange in this seed. The question is if Orange has gotten the big key yet, because Krebel doesn't have the big key of GT, and he has to full clear it, whereas Orange has already cleared a good portion of it.
Big Key was in Rando Room. Thank you to our trackers, 329th in line.
Sorry, I hate to interrupt you, but Orange is doing something really spicy. This is called map wrap. It's extremely dangerous. What he has done,
yes, that is extremely dangerous.
Don't move right, Orange. You can see him moving very carefully, because he went off the edge of the map and wrapped himself to the other edge of the map. Not the screen, the map. He's actually at Skull Woods. Wrapping the map is very unstable, and any rightward movement will put him into an infinite scroll hard lock, and he will lose all of his progress from clearing Turtle Rock, and we'll have to clear Turtle Rock again.
Mm-hmm.
But he pulls it off, and he saves a ton of time not having to walk to Skull Woods, putting him probably in the lead again. If there was any question about him being in the lead, I think this clinches it for him.
Yeah, that is... there's a couple of ways to set it up, either clipping off that side of Dark Death Mountain or off the top of it, but either way, it's incredibly risky and incredibly easy to hard lock.
Yeah. Oh, Fryman gets God Pixel and Thieves down. Nice.
Very nice. And we got an easy Tempered Sword Moth for Orange. Krebel going back into Turtle Rock. Gonna get his hook shot, doing the same way that Orange did, rather than just clipping into the turtle.
I mean, you can do a mirror out. Crubble doesn't have the mirror, so he's doing the mirrorless version, which makes a lot of sense. He's going to get his hook shot and he's going to be in go mode, but he still has a very unfriendly full clear of TR because of where the big key is. But TR, it's just TR for him, and it's just Meyer for Orange. This is actually super close. I don't know who's in the lead. Do you remember where the big key of Meyer was?
Big key Meyer, no. If our trackers could potentially help us out.
We are, in fact, restreaming the entire race. As wildly popular by glitching standards, it's still a glitch mode, and glitch mode is still very niche. If you want to get into glitch modes, it's actually not that hard. Half of the things you're seeing the runners doing are purely optional, and you can just beat the game with most seeds with a very limited number of glitches. You can go into the main Discord, the main Rando Discord, and go into the glitch training channel. If you go into the pins, there's a ton of resources. What did I miss?
So, you know that there was an item in the Thieves Town big chest.
And
it was our Vanilla Titans mitts.
Oh! Okay, Vanilla mitts and Vanilla Moon Pearl. So the mitts are you don't want to see the mitts when you're not in go mode, because mitts only unlock some things. For Aime, literally only unlocks the Smith chain logically, and it doesn't really do anything that you can't do with glitches. But Moon Pearl and mitts are vanilla. This is very silly.
And thanks for our tracker through 29th in line. Meyer Big Key was in the Meyer lobby.
Okay, so that's not a great location for the big key, especially if Orange decides to do the Firelock chest. It's not the worst either, but Krubel's big key is also terrible, and Orange doesn't have to do the basement of GT, so I still think Orange is in the lead.
I'm still so confused why Ferrame... it's too bad that Ferrame won't do an interview, because I would love to ask him why he left TR after getting that flute.
Huh. Interesting. Yeah, why didn't he just go to Laser Bridge?
Because right now he's not going to Skull Woods.
He's doing the Smith. He's following those
no.
mitts. Because that's all that the mitts do, is they just unlock the Smith and the purple chest. He might even activate the flute and turn in the purple chest, which is a huge time loss for him.
And the only thing he needs is that hook shot, which is just sitting there on Laser Bridge, and he could have had it 20 minutes ago, even maybe half an hour ago. So
Ferrame would not have dipped Skullwoods because he got the fire rod before he did, so he would have full cleared it if he was in there. Ferrame got a really late Moon Pearl, so he got everything except the Moon Pearl, and now he's been in hookshot go mode for a frustrating amount of time. Render making nice use of that powder to drop down to Ice Armos. You can get rid of Bob a little bit faster and still get Bob's chest. Very good little bit of speed tech, and it gives you safety, especially with Quick Swap. It's really one of those things that Quick Swap allows. Alright, he's saying no to the purple chest. He still has a crystal dungeon he can do. And another one that does have his go mode, so this is the correct play. He misses the fence dash. I think he was going for fence dash.
Of course he was.
It's a swag strat that the speedrunners like to use.
Oh, Render is gonna climb the tower without hookshot.
Yeah, interesting, because he's actually still not in go mode. But he seems either confident in his hover or not. See, it isn't just putting the hookshot somewhere, or cane. Not the hookshot, the cane. Like the cane can still be here, given that there's no small key in tile room.
Yeah, King could be up at the top, or his hookshot could be at the top too, since Swamp was a pendant.
Not with the tile room. And also the crystals don't matter for GT because you can just clip in. It's kind of treated like a zero crystal, except it requires Moon Pearl.
Right.
The reason the hookshot can't be here is because Rando Room has
right. Keep forgetting that bomb jump is out of logic.
Yeah. This works the same as like except the logic's a little different. No, Orange is not doing spooky.
Mm-hmm. The only thing I can think for Farime is that he doesn't want to climb the mountain again, but that doesn't really make sense either because
It's not really a climb, it's a clip, and it's so
Yeah.
fast. You just do it. It's mountain climb is it's like how you get to so much of the world that you don't even think about it as a climb. You just think of it as part of. It's like equivalent to saving and quitting to sink, or like
getting
to use the flute, you know.
Yeah, getting to Turtle Rock is a little bit more annoying, but it's still not that bad compared to no major glitches.
I really liked that damage that Farime took on the spike. He did that on purpose to get sword beams and then line himself up with the key.
All right, and that was actually all 7 crystals for Krellbell. Now, he has not been in Ganon's Tower yet.
Krellbell is exactly the GT basement big key grab behind Orange, except also like Orange has to clip the GT, which is, like half a minute, I think. Rendera is mimicking the hover. he's warming up for it. Look at that. He's not sure why he delayed the... I think he's just memeing. He knows it's a hover seed and he's not happy about it. Or he is. Maybe he's really good at hovering.
Or is just excited to show off,
Yeah, he's on Restream. No, he's on Gumbo though, and he remembers. I think he just didn't know that he needs the hook shot. What was the mirror? That was an accident. He missed.
Yeah, the mirror was in Dark Magician. Oh no, and now he's just gonna climb again.
Render.
Ah,
he wants to show the hover. I understand. I really wanted to show some things too that we don't get to see, like the swamp clip. If you want to see more of this, though, we are doing an exhibition race on Go Mode Podcast tomorrow, and hopefully we get a better seed for certain glitches. We got to see Kiki skip in this one, and we might get to see the swamp clip in the next one. It's going to be at the same time, but it's going to be on a different channel.
That will be, I believe it'll be on the Go Mode Podcast Twitch channel.
Yeah, and it's actually going to be I'm going to be playing tied in a race and to rematch. And it turned into an exhibition race because we also wanted to show the mode and hadn't at the time known that Speed Gaming was also scheduling it for this week. So we get a double header for hybrid major glitches.
And of course, coming up in this summer, we will have the Hybrid Major Glitches tournament here on Speed Gaming. Malmo, one of the admins for that tournament.
Yeah, the tournament is going to run late June to however long it takes, depending on how many entrants we get. I'm really hoping we can get up to 16. But if we do 8, we'll do a double elimination bracket just to make it last longer. The tournament's going to be pretty chill. It's going to be mostly like these runners, and then some people from the old school speedrun glitch community, and then some people from graduates from the Go Mode Podcast Mentor Tournament glitches who learned how to play overworld glitches this year and have kind of decided to continue down that rabbit hole. Farime is doing the old school setup for mirror wrap for TR. This is buffering to the edge of the screen manually, and then he nails it too. He hits them on the same frame, does a very specific input to get back onto the transition without soft locking, and this puts him straight onto Laser Bridge.
And we'll see what his reaction is when he gets his hook shot here.
Yeah, he could have had this so long ago, and it's a crystal. At least he didn't do ice. He could have done ice.
That's true.
That was in logic. You don't need the mitts for that, and he actually has them. The Ice Palace can require the flippers instead, which is a rather complicated wrap that you can get in that will actually be taken out of logic shortly, but for now it's in logic, and it uses the flippers.
And for him, a total professional, no reaction. He gets his hook shot, he's in go mode.
And he has the big key because he got it in the first chest. That's very nice, actually. I think he saved time going in the front versus having to backtrack through the whole thing. Normally you don't save time doing that, but I think he saved time for this.
Probably grab his big key as Orange is making his way to Moldorm 2. Renderer is doing his climb. No Cane of Samaria's got to use backup straps on the Wizrobes, and we have a Christmas-flavored Trinex.
Oh, yeah. Pallet shovel can do that now. Alright, we're gonna do the green head.
Oh, and yeah, that was, good point with all the small keys. Was required, but I mean, Farame still had the ability, or did he need to get the mirror?
You don't need the mirror.
Oh, okay.
You don't even need the mirror for Swamp in this mode. You can do it without the mirror. I'm a little sad we didn't get to show how to do Swamp. Maybe tomorrow you'll get to see it. It's really common if Swamp is a crystal, and tomorrow we have agreed to do all Pendant and Crystal dungeons. So you will get to see at least some kind of clear of Swamp. And usually when people play this mode, they don't just assume that the small key is in the front because it's only a 1 in 10 chance. It's safer to just assume that it's not there and do it from the inside out.
Alright, Orange takes care of Agatu, and then it's our good old friend Ganon.
This is a very interesting seed for all the wrong reasons.
And Farame was in Ganon's tower earlier, but now we're going to go in the proper way.
He is actually doing the NMG route because he is in front of TR. I think Espeon timed it, and it's actually still slower than clipping. It's only faster if you're coming from Hookshot Cave. The reason is that crystal cutscene is super slow. But you do get here with full health and don't have to heal.
Did Renderer quit out of Ganon's tower?
Yeah, maybe he was just gambling that the hookshot was there. Or the cane. He should know the hookshot can't be there.
Mm-hmm.
I missed if he had actually tried to hover or not.
No, he didn't make it to Moldorm 2.
Oh. That's unfortunate. Well, he's screen wrapping himself, which means he's going to cane at least. And then hopefully that moves him in the right direction to do TR. He already did a bunch of Myers. He's not going to go chasing Vitreous, I don't think, but... And he can anyway, it's a crystal. He has to do it at some point. Now, he's fixing his camera so that when he clips off the mountain, he can actually get off the mountain and not soft lock, because if your camera's not corrected, you'll just soft lock if you try to get off the mountain. The other way to get off the mountain here and save your portal is to Death Warp, or use the flute, but he doesn't have the flute and he has way too much health for Death Warping. Meanwhile, Orange is at Ganon, and Krebel is just a couple minutes behind him in Ganon's tower. I think Krebel must have taken a different route through GT that set him farther behind than I thought he was.
Yeah, he ended up doing Stalfos first, so he did Stalfos, then...
Oh, that's bad.
Yeah.
Oh, he did Magician route? Oh.
He did, yeah, Magician route.
I don't blame him, because that's kind of the meta for when you're in Go mode and looking for a key, but unfortunately with Random Room is the counter to Dark Magician route.
But get some GGs in chat for Orange, who finishes first on Restream, first overall, with a race time of 1:21:41.
This is the overall, by the way. There are only 4 in this race. There can be more if you want to join. We're having a weekly race on Sunday. It's a casual race that doesn't get restreamed, but we have it at the same time every week. It's at 6 o'clock Eastern PM on Sundays. Now keep an eye out for those glitched racer pings in the main Discord.
And as Malmo had said, if you're comfortable with any of the 2-button inputs that you do in a regular no major glitches seed, like spin speed, or even pixel perfect lineups like Diver Down or Icebreaker, then you can do these clips.
The major glitches are not actually harder than the minor glitches. They're just more of them. There's just more glitches to learn. It's fun. You get to learn more things.
And we are joined by Orange. GG's.
GG. How was that seed? How did that feel having Hookshot Go mode? Or not Hookshot Go mode, potentially Hookshot Go mode, because it wasn't for you, right? You had Cane Go mode?
Yeah, I had Cane Go mode, but as far as Underworld shenanigans, this was a disappointing seed.
Yeah, I was a little sad we didn't get to see Swamp and Ice, but that's what tomorrow is for, because we're doing all the dungeons.
That'll be fun.
We got some fun locations. You didn't get to see the
I'm sorry, you cut out.
You didn't get to see the vanilla mitts.
Oh,
as well as the vanilla moon pearl.
well, with the Big Key and the Moon Pearl where they were, Swamp was pretty much off the table.
Yeah. You'd have to really devote yourself to clipping from Mire. Actually, Render had tried to and walked at the Mire clip. No, I wonder how much of that was just he wanted to show us the clip.
And you know what? Even with that, the TR key layout was quite mean. That you had to, first do the front to get your big key, and then go to the back to get your small keys. There was no way to go all the way from front to back of Turtle Rock.
Yeah. I mean, you had to. Like, Frime did actually a really early dip of TR, but only in the front. And then he got the big key and left. And then when he got go mode, he was able to just go straight to Trinix, which felt really nice for him, probably. May have even saved him time over just doing it the traditional overall glitches way. Frime and Krebel are in Ganon together. This is spicy.
That was kind of my approach to the whole thing. It was technically my first time doing hybrid major glitches, so I thought I would just treat it as an overworld glitches seed and kind of do the underworld stuff as a last resort, with the exception of TT skip.
Mm-hmm.
But it turned out that underworld shenanigans was not necessary to beat the seed. I mean, you never had to touch swamp or ice.
No, this was actually a really good seed for Kiki Skip because it got you some early items like the hammer and fire rod. But Frime did last location the Moon Pearl. Like, I think anybody thinking with the major glitches mindset would probably want to be holding onto that small key of Hera. So that's a very easy trap to fall into if you're a certain, if you have a certain style of play. Whereas I think the rest of you had gotten the Moon Pearl eventually before going to Pod.
Yeah, I was like, I want my crystal.
Yeah, Krebel is finished too. Second place overall and restream, and Frime just behind him with a good silver's kill. 125.54 for Frime. Frime, we'll ask him for an interview, but if you guys know Frime, he probably won't join us. But Krebel has joined us. GG.
GG Krebel.
GG, that was an interesting one.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah, very. It was barely a hybrid major glitches seed.
We still got to see some things. Frime did do Kiki Skipper before Moon Pearl. Having bow and lamp is very tempting to go into Pod.
Yeah, when I found Moon Pearl, I assumed that most other racers would have done Kiki Skip before that play.
Actually, only one person did that.
Oh, okay.
Everybody else got their Moon Pearl. And Frime last location did it. I think I would have too.
Yeah, I was feeling quite ahead when I found that Moon Pearl because I had all but one chest and pod open to me, and you have, potentially, what is that? 4 to 5 items in pod, or
yeah, that's 5,
maybe,
right?
Maybe 0 items in. Well, if there's something on the boss.
One thing that I'd like to ask both Krebel and Norge is, while you were searching for your final item, was there any thought to going back to that Thieves Town big chest?
Oh, I was going to last location that for sure.
Me too, because I had so many checks open to me. Like, I had all of ice, all of swamp, dipping mire without the cane.
Krebel, do you want to take a stab at what was in there?
In Thieves Town big chest?
Yeah.
Because you're asking, I'm assuming something good. Mail upgrade?
It was go ahead. It was
I don't know.
It was vanilla. It was the mitts.
Mitts? Oh, gross.
Render is teleported on the wrong pixel. That's unfortunate. He
Yeah,
was on the wrong bump. He had to be one bump. He was attempting the mirror app, and I think he might be forfeiting because he's stopped. Maybe not. Let's see the race run.
Yeah, we do have a forfeit in the race room. That is unfortunately one of the traps on Death Mountain when you're trying to do that clip up and wiggle the wrong way.
Yeah, he had actually that's not even what went wrong for him. He was just teleporting on the wrong bump. So he teleported too low and automatically put himself in one of those soft walk locations.
Yeah, I was a little bit annoyed by the fact that I was in hover mode.
I know, it's frustrating.
At 1 hour into the seed.
If it makes you feel better, so is everybody else except the one person who was in Kane Go mode.
Yeah, I had Hook before Kane.
Oh, where was Kane again? It was
Front of Escape.
The classic.
Ooh,
Do Uncle at some point.
Oh yeah. So Orange, did you end up Oh no, I guess you wouldn't have hovered because
I attempted a
on
hover
the way.
shot cave.
Oh, okay.
And then immediately found the hook shot, and then known that the Kane can't be. So that's actually really cool.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
All right, Renter is here too.
I knew Kane wasn't going to be
where
behind.
Where is that hook shot? I know I'm in Go mode, but
it's in TR. I can't. Laser Bridge.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that was my next. That was my next call. That was my next move anyway.
Yeah, I saw you were trying to. You were actually on the wrong bump for that teleport, and that's why you.
Yeah, I know. I know. I was just like, well, I know I'm like way behind because of the checks that I did. I probably shouldn't have forfeited, honestly.
Yeah, you could have finished it out. You were really close. I mean, you could still, like. You could finish it out
anyway.
Later, you know?
Yeah.
I'm finishing up right now, actually.
I understand the forfeit though. Like for all you knew, when I was in that situation, I was very, very afraid that Hookshot was going to be somewhere awful, like Left Side Swamp. Left Side Swamp would have probably been the worst. Although I was kind of like, I went through all the trouble of stealing the Hyrule Castle key rat key, kind of just preparing for later in the seed.
Wait.
For
did I miss you doing Beetle Clip?
Necessary. I guess you did.
I missed you doing Beetle Clip. It was one of those optional indoor clips that you can do. So the reason Krubble was doing it was he knew that he had to spend that key in Hera and wasn't going to get it back because it was a locking progression. So he took a key out of the escape by clipping into the escape while the game still thought he was in Hera. Kill Keyrat and get that key. Because he already had access to the back of escape, he doesn't need it for its intended purpose. And now he has the Hera small key again that he can use in Swamp. Unfortunately, there isn't anything there in Swamp, so that little kind of safety preparation didn't pay off. But it is a very good heads-up play when you know that you had to spend the small key in Hera.
Yeah, if I was thinking ahead more, I would have done the Dark World map check before doing that play. But I did because I had that on my mind. That was why I checked the front of escape before going back to Hera, because in order to make that play work, you need to get the small key in escape while you're clearing escape and actually open the door to the key rat before doing the Beetle Clip.
It takes a lot of thought. It's not something you just kind of like, oh, I'll just wait. So you have to prepare for it.
And I've forgotten about that before in the past. So
for iMates in chat, if you want to hear his side of the story, he was actually got fake Dark World, which I kind of explained earlier. When you die in a dungeon or enter a dungeon from the Light World, you're not actually in the Dark World anymore. So he probably did a screen transition and wasn't in the Dark World anymore and couldn't do TR.
That kind of explains why he didn't go back to TR right away, because he was the first one to go into TR, get that flute, get key locked.
He death warped out. That's why. Yeah, he death warped out of TR. That's kind of the danger of entering TR from the front when you don't have the mirror. Is because your only way out is to either walk out or death warp, and then you're just not in the Dark World anymore. And you try to transition, and suddenly you're on the top of Death Mountain in the Light World, and you're like, now what?
Wait, am I the only one in this race that doesn't hover?
I attempted it.
No,
but
Ferrime doesn't hover either.
Oh,
yeah,
I know how to hover.
Hookshot mode.
I know how to hover, but I'm not consistent with it.
So what happened in GT render? I saw you mirror out. Did it again, but didn't finish. But I missed what the reason was.
Oh, I ended up for some reason I switched to mirror I with the cape out and somehow my movement got screwed up. I don't know what happened there.
Oh,
I'm
so you
pretty
did
sure-
just miss mirror.
Well, it's not because of not even a miss mirror. I just had really weird. Could only move like in like I think like in slashes or dashes because I got out of the cape when I think on the
you
same
got the running
frame.
man glitch. You got the running
What?
man glitch.
The running man
Oh.
glitch. Oh.
You like cape through a door or something and the cape runs out.
Oh.
I'm not familiar with it, but I know it's like a soft lock you have to mirror out. Super unfortunate.
And in my case, I just quick swapped to mirror.
Yeah.
I was quick swapping to get to my powder. So at least I was like, okay, that's weird, but
Flu.
yeah, that's why I mirrored. Running man.
Like the
Oh.
reason I think the reason Frymay had mirrored Death Warped out of here was because he actually didn't have a key to go forward. He was supposed to go in through the middle.
Well, no, I
Oh.
think I mean it doesn't matter which order you did. You had to, go through the middle, or you could go through the front, get the big key, and then go through the middle.
Yeah, that's true. But I think what Frymay had tried to exit TR and wasn't able to because exiting TR put him in the light world, and once he did that screen transition to the other screen, he wasn't there anymore.
Oh.
So there was nothing to clip to. He was just at Death Mountain. And he could have gone back in
Interesting.
using the hammer portal, but by the time that happens, you're just like, whatever, I'll just go somewhere else. Totally justifiable.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
interesting because I just did the mirrorless laser bridge, and given what the time difference between Farame and I ended up, which was quite close. That's surprising.
Yeah,
I
very
guess
different roads.
that may have been one of the things that made the difference.
I think Farame's last locationing of Moon Pearl was probably a big factor as well. He did Panda Landmo and some to skip. Surprisingly, Orange was the first person into TR. I'm surprised. As soon as you found the Moon Pearl, like we had knowledge of everything you needed to do Trinex. So Frymay getting the Moon Pearl gave him access to Trinex, and everybody else going to Pod gave them access to Trinex, except for Orange who didn't have the cane.
Yeah, that didn't come until the overworld glitches infamous 1 hour uncle check.
Yep, that's why we do it. I taught you well. Well, not you. You're not a mentee. I think I think it
me
bled into
and
you.
Crumble.
Though. Yeah.
I'm just very happy that I got the map wrap on Restream.
That was so cool. I'm so glad I got to
Oh, nice.
You actually did
see
it?
that.
Yeah, I
he
actually
just
did
didn't-
TR to Skullwoods map wrap since
Nice. That's cool.
I had to go mode TR, Skullwoods, and Meyer.
You were actually really close to Crubble. I think if you hadn't rap and Crubble hadn't done Magician route in GT, you would neck.
Oh, yeah.
The Magician route in GT actually put you really far behind.
Yeah, that one hurt a little bit, especially because when I started down that route, I forgot that I didn't have mirror, and then I'm in Stompos Room. I'm like, this plan did not work out at all, and then mirror's just there. It's like, oh, okay, saved by that a little bit.
yeah.
But,
I-
yeah, that was a
I
routing
went to
error.
I went to TR as soon as I found the hammer, and I knew right away that the hookshot could not have been a GT at all. So just from that position alone, I will say this though, that the Moon Pearl location was very cute, very very cute.
Yes.
Very cute.
Yes.
So
the fact- The big key being vanilla also meant that we were never gonna touch Swamp.
Yep, I had it like I mixed it up like right away. Like I said like, well, I could possibly go to Swamp, but then I realized as soon as the big key was the only thing, I was like, wait, and then the big key was vanilla. Like, no, wait, that can't be right. I'd have to like I'd be soft locked right out of the gates. So
Yeah, you'd have to do some kind of sequence break, like a fake flute, to get around that requirement. But you could still do Swamp the intended way, which is going from Meyer.
one thing, Render, is that you were obviously on your way to TR, and we're going to find Hookshot there. If you didn't find Hookshot in TR, were you going to plan on diving Ice, Swamp, or going back to Thieves Town?
Skull. I still had the fire rod at hand, so that I would be heading to Skull next.
Gotcha.
Made sense. It's a crystal.
Yeah.
Get your crystals first, then do the awful checks.
Yes, that's
that's
exactly what I wanted. That's exactly what it was.
And that's how
Yeah,
you
I
get
mean-
Kane Go mode in this seed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I checked Skull before TR. It was because I knew I could, I could finish off Skull and never need to go back there. And I don't know the TR to Skull map rep, so I didn't have that incentive. And if Hookshot was just on Moth, then that would have been Go mode. I guess I didn't think that one through.
We're done here.
Second thought.
You have to show
Hindsight.
me how to do that, like the map wrap, because I'm really curious on how
You
to do
should show
it.
me too. I haven't learned that yet. I'm too chicken. It's too scary. Because every time you do it, you're doing it because you did Trinex, and then you'd have to redo Trinex.
Yep.
It's
Mhm.
so scary. It even looks scary. It's like a weird dark screen with no music, and it's just what the heck.
I mean, I had to make up for it after forgetting the input to do the teleport for Kiki Skip.
I knew the input because
no.
I knew the input. I
took
just
me,
didn't bother to
like-
do it.
So it ended up taking me like 7 or 8 tries to do Kiki Skip, all because I forgot the last input.
Oh, you gotta join the Insta club. Join me in
No, it's
Crubble.
funny
It's so
'cause-
much better.
Well, the problem
funny
is that
'cause-
my schedule doesn't allow me to do the HMG weeklies.
Aw.
Uh,
Well, just ping. We've been pinging races like mad this week. I think I did like 2 with checks, just picking up.
it's funny
And
because
I also-
Popular mode.
I also only learned the required clips last night, except Kiki Skip. I've known that one for months.
Well, it's like,
Mhm.
oh, I just casually win this race in this mode I've never played before.
Man, I was
I mean-
feeling hopeful. I'm like, all right,
To be
this
fair-
is my home turf. I've done so many of these, and Orange is brand new. And then the seed had like no required. It
Yeah,
required
no
none of them.
required underworld shenanigans. Although if you did Kiki Skip, you got a much better pod route.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
You got a better pod route, but that hammer actually maybe a delayed Frame a little bit, because when he did Thieves Town, he had the hammer, which led to the Titans mitts.
Mitts, yeah.
And he started
Oh,
to do
was that-
Smith Chain.
wait,
Oh,
Vanilla
is
mitts
it
and-
is it vanilla?
Yeah,
you-
vanilla mitts.
Yeah.
The mitts
Oh,
and the
yeah.
Moon Pearl were both vanilla.
You could just do the old
That's
Dungeons
amazing.
RNG speedrun in this thing. Like,
That's
just like-
amazing.
You actually could.
you just start the escape, and you get your cane on the way because you do need that.
You could even do a literal hammer jump.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Did anyone do any major glitches aside from Kiki Skip in this one? I'm
I
trying to
was
think if there
gonna
was
do
any
Myra to
call for
Hera,
any of
but
them.
I got the wrong input.
Yeah,
That's
Render
what-
got a soft lock.
Oh,
I think
okay.
what happened is instead of hitting a diagonal, you hit a cardinal first. Normally, people will
Yeah, I had the
actually
wrong
hit the
input.
diagonal while they're being clipped by the bomb. It's a
Yeah.
pretty generous timing, and it buffers the input for you. As long as you hit it after the bomb hits you, and don't hit it too
Yeah.
early. If you hit it too early, you fall in the pit, and you're really sad, and have to walk 4 rooms, and it feels really bad.
Yeah, I'm always afraid of that, of falling in the hole, so I sword buffer that diagonal.
I
In
was
my
gonna
case-
It is
do
slower.
the Ice Palace lobby clip if I needed to go to Ice, but that's about it.
Yeah, I was
So-
talking about how they were saying, "Oh, we won't be seeing that because," but it's like, well, no, it's actually faster in cases. And then it was a freaking pendant, and we don't get to
I
see
know, I know.
it. This
We'll
is
get
why
to
we're
see it
doing
from-
all dungeons.
Yeah, we'll get to see it tomorrow.
Yeah. So, in my case, I think I had the wrong I just had the wrong diagonal.
Oh,
had-
it's
I had-
up left.
Oh,
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Okay, it can be easy to confuse Instaclips with because teleports are down right, and
I confused
Insta
I
clips are up
confused it with
left.
Kiki Skip. I'm also confused with Kiki Skip.
the
Well,
funny
Kiki
thing is
Skip is
Kiki
up
Skip
left.
has one of those too.
Yeah.
Oh, for the insta clip, yeah.
There's 2 different
Oh,
Kiki
yeah, for the
Skips you can
Instaclip.
do.
Yeah, I'm doing the one I'm more familiar with, which is buffer 1 frame and then teleport down.
Yeah.
But I would recommend that all of you follow these runners for some more fantastic viewing of the glitched modes or other randomizer seeds. Just do that !R in chat. And I would love to encourage all of you to follow our 2 trackers, 329th in Line and Professor Pixie, who did a fantastic job tracking even with our runners. clipping all over the place. And huge shout outs to my co-com Malmo, who is a glitched mode expert. And I would encourage you to watch herself and Krellbell tomorrow on Go Mode Podcast to see that All Dungeons Hybrid Major Glitches seed.
I also want to give a special shout out to Mind of Me for being so patient with me, because I've been basically bugging her about putting glitch modes on the speed gaming schedule for the last 2 months, and she has been putting it. I think every single try week has had a glitch mode at some point, thanks to her and the rest of the speed gaming staff. So we appreciate that.
And I hope you guys really up in the chat too. I hope you guys really liked my sprite. This was a project I did for like about 2 weeks after I picked it up and sitting in my folder for quite a while. This is actually my character that my namesake character, Professor Under Grizzleton. He's a bear scientist character, and he's basically my pride and joy. I love him so much. He's really great.
He's very cute.
He is cute.
Great sprite. Yep.
I really got to thank Malmo for pretty much making glitch modes popular.
Yeah.
It's selfish. I just want people to race.
Yeah. Again, just I could go on my whole story about why I love glitch modes and how I got into the first place, but I don't want to hold you guys for too long, so
Yeah,
I'll refrain from doing that.
Glitch runners, you'll learn. We like to talk about, especially after races. We'll spend like 30 minutes in voice chat just talking about the seed, and we get very academic about it. That's why we have a professor with us.
That's literally me.
I'd like to thank you all for watching tonight and asking you all once again to please follow the runners, our trackers, and my co-commentator, as well as the entire Speed Gaming family of networks. We have an absolutely packed weekend with Hollow Knight All Skills. We've got Super Metroid Rando League. Mega Man 5 tournament is kicking off. We've got Chrono Trigger Randomizer, and of course we're going to have our Link to the Past dailies next week. Have another week of standard hard items as a lead up to the main tournament starting in just a few weeks. And lots of other fun content, and yeah, make sure to follow Speed Gaming and Speed Gaming 2 through 6. But that's all for us tonight. Next week, as well as the standard modes, we're going to have a co-op inverted key sanity race and an open spoiler. So yes, there will be Mega Man 5. The tournament kicks off tomorrow night on Speed Gaming 4 at 9 p.m. And coming up in the next couple of weeks, we will have the 2021 edition of the Mega Man 2 Randomizer Tournament. But that's all for tonight. Take care. I'm Mind of Me. Take care of yourself, y'all.
Take it easy, everybody.